Hey there, YoPro audience. Before you dive into this week's YoPro of the Week, I want to take a moment to talk to you about NLCC, Next Level Career Coach. If you don't know what that is, then you need to go back and take a look at Stacy's interview. Stacy Mailer, she's now Stacy Valancy. Congratulations. But Stacy talks all about her help that she can provide you in the career search world. She can help you with career search, interview prep, resume, cover letters, and she's done it for a long time now. She's started a successful business, and she is the go-to person that I recommend to help you out. It's been a challenging year, right? So if you have any need in looking for a career right now, a new job, or you just want to revamp that resume, then Stacy is your girl. Take a look at our information provided in this video for your special discount if you use her services. Hey there, YoPro audience. I'm here today with Jennifer Burns, 34-year-old CEO and founder of Wedzee. Their tagline on their website is the easiest way to buy and sell your new or used wedding items. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely very interested in learning more today. So Jennifer is speaking to us today from Tampa, Florida. And she was connected to us through one of our previous YoPro interviewees, Samir, who they met at an innovation hub. So very excited to have you today. Jennifer, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's get started with a brief background. So try to be as concise as possible. Let us know where you're from originally, your first job, and then we'll talk more about the meat of what you're doing today, but we'll dive into those details in a little bit. But if you could start by just giving us a background.
Sure. So I'm from Indiana originally. I graduated from Indiana University in Bloomington with hospitality and planning management. And right after college, relocated to Denver, where I worked in hotels doing the wedding and event side of sales and operations, and then relocated down to Tampa in 2013 and continued my work with wedding and event planning. So total, I've had about 12 years in both operations and sales with weddings and events. And that is what, led me to dive into starting my own company in the wedding industry.
Great. Well, thanks for that recap. Can you talk more about that transition, or maybe, however many years it took to really formulate this idea from start to finish? What did that look like when you were working in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I started my first company in 2017. It was a bridal e-commerce store called Cadley. And basically from being a wedding planner, I see again and again and again, the same trends, and decided to capitalize on those trends and really just start my own Etsy store. But my husband, whose background is all digital marketing, said, wow, you're really selling a lot of these things. It was the bridesmaid robes, the tumblers, the jewelry, just the standard bridesmaid gifts. He said, you're selling a lot of these. Why don't we build you your own website? And you can sell them, on your own instead of through Etsy. And so I did. And 14 months after I launched that site, someone made me an offer to buy it from me that I really couldn't refuse. So that company was quickly acquired. And what we did was we took the capital from that first acquisition to roll it into building Wedzee, which is really my dream company all along. It's just initially, it was too much of an undertaking. Mm-hmm. So what Wedzee really does is it's supposed to be a landing zone for all things buying and selling weddings. And the reason that I decided to launch after this idea is because every single bride that I've worked with asks me, where do I find gold chargers? Where can I find, cylinder bases? And the list goes on and on and on and on, right? And every time you're wedding shopping, you might look for bridesmaid gifts on one site, then you jump to another to look at veils, then you jump to another, maybe to find runners, then you jump to, it's just like so many websites that you have to go through. And there's not just one catch-all, easy, one-stop shop place. And so very similar to your story, Kimber, because there was not an answer for them, I decided to build it myself. And So Wedzee is not only for brides to just kind of buy and sell their own things. Of course, that's a big component of the business model.
Mhm.
But additionally, it's also the B2C side, which is essentially for businesses to sell to consumers. So all of the, like my first shop, Hadley, all of the bridal e-commerce stores, all of the artisans that are also selling on Etsy, for them to have a focused platform to sell just for weddings. So it's new and used and custom, kind of pulling it all together under one roof.
Great. And you said that your first company, which was the bridal e-commerce shop, that was in 2017. So what year was this, just timeline wise, when you started?
Yes. So I sold Cadley, my first company, in July of 2018. July of 2018 is also when I incorporated Wedzee. So I didn't waste any time. I took off and running.
No, that's great. And you said was we your husband and you? Did you have other people on your team? Like, do you have people on your team now?
Yeah. So my husband was my co-founder with Cadley. He has a great eye for the digital marketing, not only running the social media campaigns and PPC campaigns, but also, building the website, and he's more technical with that. So he did co-found Cadley with me. He also co-founded Wedzee. So him and I are the co-founders, and we're in the process of onboarding a technical CTO as well. So our team is growing, and we have a advisory board too, which I'm really excited about. The former director of IT from eBay is on our advisory board, and he's really helping us. His insight and knowledge, he worked there for 9 years when eBay was scaling. So he knows a lot about, what to really think about and how to implement data storage and shipping logistics. And the list goes on and on, but his insight is invaluable to us. So we have him on our team. And then we are targeting to bring on a big name from the wedding industry as well. We haven't secured anyone yet. We actually haven't reached out, but that's the next goal, is to pull on that expertise and outreach too.
I think that's great. How long since when you started, from the start of Wedzee, how long did it take until you were profitable?
Well, that's the problem with a marketplace. So they call it the chicken and the egg problem, because you have to go find the people to sell on your site before it makes any sense to go try and drive the buyers. So we started in July of 2018, and really we had our heads down building this whole thing out for over a year. We took it live, let's see, it would have been September of 2019. And then I actually had a baby last fall, and so it kind of put things on hold a little bit. Was not going after it the way I normally would have. And then I was ready come the start of this year. Let's go. And then COVID hits, and the world goes sideways. So our timeline was certainly not typical or what we anticipated. But right now, our focus has been seeding the site with listings, seeding the site. And I think once we are able to get a minimum of 10,000 listings, and we're well on our way, then we're going to pivot our focus to buyers. So we unfortunately are not quite there yet where we're profitable, but I have no doubt that once we launch a strong branding and marketing campaign that we'll quickly get there. We're just still in the building phase.
Well, I'm glad that I asked that, and I should have, added a second part to that. Are you profitable still? Because I think at the start of a lot of businesses, as I can relate to, there is a large chunk of time usually where, you're not profitable because you are looking at ways to, set yourself up for success. So I appreciate you sharing that with us, and definitely look forward to, staying connected and seeing how your company does progress. So the next question I want to ask, and I always ask every person I interview this, is what has been a hardship for you when you look back at the last 12 years of your professional career?
That's a really good question. I actually put a lot of thought into this, trying to find that perfect answer. And I didn't, I don't have just one giant aha moment or one huge thing that happened to me in my career that was a turning point. It was more just the accumulation of year after year after year, and all these jobs I had at different hotels and different wedding venues and working for an independent wedding planner, it was the same frustration day in and day out of just simply not, you know, I not working for myself, not being able to go after my own goals, not being able to kind of do the things the way I want to do them. I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you just have this certain spirit. Like you have something in you that you don't feel fulfilled unless you really go after and do your own thing. And I think it's been eating away at me for over a decade. And I think that that's also what pushed me to, go find my own thing. And it's so taboo these days to either be a stay-at-home mom or you have your company and you chase your career dreams. And it doesn't have to be that way. I have three very young daughters that, I had them home during COVID, everything. So it's been a challenge, but it's not stopping me. And I just feel like if you want it bad enough, then you go for it. You take that chance. Because I don't think working for any hotel, no matter how great of a hotel or position it was, would have ever been truly fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I think, and we've already mentioned that several times now, that word, fulfilling and fulfillment. And that's really important. So I think, this is very applicable to not only people in the, hospitality industry or even entrepreneurs, but it really is applicable to everyone. If you have a goal, to just not let something stop you if it's in the way. So I think that's very applicable, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. So one thing that I always like to ask, typically I'll interview, it's about half and half when I interview people 21 to 30 years old, and then 30 to 39, which is, those are the two kind of age groups that make up the young professionals. And so that's really, I get like an even split. And so one thing that I actually prefer interviewing those who are 30 to 39 is I love asking, what would you tell yourself when, 10 years ago, when you were at the start of your young professional career? Is there anything that you would tell yourself? And, we may have already touched on it today, so you can just kind of reiterate it, but what would you tell yourself?
That's a really, really good question. What I would have loved, I would love to meet my 21-year-old self and give her a little advice. And in the same thought, I would love to know what it's going to be like when I'm 44, and wish I could have that advice now. But, I would say really just make the most of every single, experience and situation. There's something you can learn from everything, even if you don't feel like that interests you, or, this isn't the career path I want to take. I had to fill in different departments of the hotel. Sometimes they were short staffed. I had to jump behind the front desk. I had to wait tables when a server didn't show up. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to do as a team player that I think some people, might not learn something from it. I think that if you try and make the connections, right? Make them early, make them young, because when you're trying to call them when you actually have your company, it's like you want something and you should have built that rapport through all of the networking as you go. But also try and just learn everything from every type of experience that you get, because, everyone has their own journey and their own path. And I think you cross their path for a reason, and you should, make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that is a great way to wrap up my questions that I have for you. So is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't touch on today before we wrap things up?
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been great. The only thing I would say is, for Wedzee, my vision is for Wedzee to become and grow as big as Wedding Wire, as Etsy, as eBay. I mean, I have a vision for it to be the landing place for weddings. And if there's any other young entrepreneurs out there listening, the only thing I can say is think big, and don't let the little small, discouragements along the way get you down. Because if you want to go big, then you have to think big and you have to dream big. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing and how you encourage all the entrepreneurs. And I hope that someone out there listening takes a little bit of motivation and encouragement from it, because it's not easy. But if you keep going, I can promise you that it will be worth it. So thank
Awesome.
you again for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jennifer Burns, everyone. We will be linking all of her information, so including her Wedzee website. So if you're interested in learning more, we'll be able to provide that on our website and on our social platforms. So thanks again, Jennifer.
Thank you.